Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stephanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. We are in episode 4 of this mini-series where Kristi and I are diving deep into cycle syncing as a business owner. And today's episode, we are specifically focusing on the luteal phase of the cycle. Before I have Kristi dive into that, I just want to share with you guys that I recognize that there is so much more that could be covered on this. I mean, like, we're calling it a deep dive, but there's things we could tie in, like the moon cycles more deeply. We could tie in your own birth chart into all of this, and just know there's so many directions you could go with this. So if you're like really feeling lit up from listening to these episodes and you want to take it a step further, highly recommend reaching out to Kristi and she can support you in that work. Okay. So Kristi, we're in the luteal phase. This is, I guess, approximately days, like 18 through 28, right?
Yeah, it really just depends. Yeah, I would say like the last maybe like 7 to 10-ish days of your cycle, just depending on how long your cycle is.
Okay, sounds good. And what would you say is the theme of this cycle?
Yeah, so the theme of the luteal phase is burn. And this is a multifaceted naming of this cycle. Most women that come to me for assistance with their cycles are having major issues in this luteal phase. And conventional medicine has labeled our major issues with this phase as PMS, premenstrual syndrome, even PMDD.
Yeah.
And what we are missing here in this phase is a lot of wisdom that first and foremost, when we can look at it without telling ourselves that we're crazy. There's so much treasure here because this is the phase that if you can unlock its wisdom, you're like golden for the rest of the cycle. Like, we've got to work with every phase, but this is the one that we have the most trouble with. And I think the reason for that is because we are ignoring our cycle phase. We're trying to live in solar testosterone productivity culture. And it's just not working for us anymore. And the body will whisper first and then it will shout. And often the shouts happen here in the luteal phase.
That's so interesting because I just have found since starting my private practice and what I've learned from my own health journey and hormone journey is, as women, we are not really educated at all when it comes to hormones. I knew nothing about estrogen. I knew nothing about progesterone. I knew nothing about like my thyroid hormones. Like, and not that it's the school's job, but I don't know whose job solely it is, but the world, childhood, adolescence, nothing in that time really prepares you or educates you on hormones. Obviously, they play such a big role in our phases, but if you aren't educated on that, like, this can sound very foreign to you. Like, understanding, we didn't really talk about it in the last one, but like understanding how your estrogen and progesterone levels can really impact the ovulatory phase. And just knowing all of that is so important because you can tell if those hormones are off if you know what to look for. I'm not like an integrative practitioner. I don't wear that hat. I find that I'm naturally like letting my clients know like, hey, this might be a clue that you need to get your hormones checked out. So I guess a little shameless plug on that is if this is something that, like, as we're talking about the bodily signs and symptoms and you're like, oh, wow, I have severe PMS. I know it's normalized, but it really shouldn't be considered normal, so to speak, to an extent.
Yeah.
Maybe, but really consider getting your hormones looked at and then let an integrative practitioner really educate you on what's optimal. rather than normal for these phases in particular. Sorry, Kristi. I just had to put that in there.
I love that. Thank you for mentioning it. And I will also say too that like the label of PMS is kind of BS, truly.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
thank you.
So I don't use it when I speak and work with women, because what we are feeling in the luteal phase, we are meant to be feeling. But if we ignore it, then the symptoms get worse. And so there may be a hormone imbalance happening. And I do understand that to be true and real for a lot of us. This can be just starting to work with your cycle and aligning your cycle with the rest of your life can be the first step in balancing your hormones and in recognizing what is actually normal and what maybe needs further attention.
Totally.
And there's so much of that in the luteal phase, because that is what I hear from women. That is what I was saying to myself in my mid-30s. Like, all of a sudden I feel crazy. Like the things I could deal with in the past phases of my cycle, all of a sudden I can't deal with them anymore. And that is the point of change for the luteal phase. So we've talked about still points, and we've talked about points of change on the cycle continuum. The luteal phase, how do I know when I'm moving into that phase? There is an irritation. And it's like the first irritation. It's the first thought of, this doesn't feel good anymore. My plate is too full. I can't handle the things that I handled just fine a few days ago. I have to say no. I have to cancel something. I was short with my kids or my partner or this client when I normally wouldn't have been. My patience is thin. It's like, all of those vibes kind of wrapped into one is what I call the first irritation. This may even come up in, we're focusing these on business, but like your business is not separate from your life. And so the first irritation could even be like, if you're intimate with your partner and you're like, what felt good before, it doesn't feel good right now.
Yeah.
That's a clue.
Okay.
That's a clue. Yeah.
Okay.
And so burn week, the archetype for this week is the alchemist, because this phase of your cycle, like I said, has so many treasures. You're like turning the challenges, or like the lead in alchemy, into treasure, into gold, when you work with this phase of your cycle really well. And that is the burning. That's the fire element. We're also going to acknowledge that a lot of times in our businesses, when we get into the luteal phase, we feel like we want to burn our business down. We want to throw in the towel. We want to give up. We want to let it go. We're done. We're over it. And let that, if you're feeling that, let that be a message to you to work with your cycle phases before you give up and before you cash it in. Because that's not really what you want to do.
Right. It's funny that you say that, because in some of our local female entrepreneur group meetings, there will be women from time to time in those meetings who have said that exact statement of like, I'm just feeling like I could totally shut this down today and not feel guilt about it. And so I imagine that's probably where they're at in their cycle.
Probably.
Yes. That's interesting.
Yeah. That would be my first question to them.
Yeah.
Where are you at in your cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's happening here biologically is that your hormones are tanking. So, estrogen is the dominant hormone in the first half of our cycle.
Right.
Progesterone is the dominant hormone in the second half of the cycle. And then the body realizes, okay, we did not conceive. The egg is not fertilized. So the hormones all take a nosedive. And when that happens, that's when we feel irritated. We don't have those calming progesterone hormones, and we don't have the beautifying, lubricating estrogen hormone to see us through the rest of the cycle. And that has to happen biologically in order for us to bleed and begin anew. But it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great in our head either. This is the time when it's most hard to like find your words. I just remember so many times I would like describe things like, I need to go take the clothes down to that thing that washes them, because I couldn't think of like the washing machine.
Okay. Yeah.
And so this is the phase when you're going to find that happening more. fogginess can creep in, like brain fog. There can be migraines and other kinds of symptoms associated, some early bloating ahead of the period. And like I said, all of this can be alchemized.
Mm-hmm.
You can balance your hormones by paying attention to your cycle. You can. And
Yeah.
this is that phase that I think starts to yell the loudest for most of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would agree. So what I'm hearing you say in regards to the signs and whatnot that you're in this is this would probably not be the best time of the month for me to sit down behind the mic and crank out some solo episodes. Like probably I'm gonna like trip over my words or struggle to just like even form some sentences, and really put my thoughts together in an aligned way like I typically want to. So that's helpful. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the time when our inner critic is the loudest. And I like to say, like, this is the truth telling time. This is the time though when we're seeing truths come through, like with no filter, but they're often wrapped in this self-criticism that can feel so demeaning. And so we have to use so much discernment at this time to uncover what is true that's coming up here and what is just that mean inner judge or inner critic. And it takes a lot of listening to do that. But that's what's beautiful about this phase is that you're just going to listen and note that information. You're not going to do anything with it yet.
Right.
Are you 5'4" or under? If so, listen up. This ad is for you. Did you know nearly half of women in the US are petite? Yet, shopping for stylish clothes that fit perfectly can feel impossible? For years, I struggled with this. Shopping in kids sections, dealing with oversized arms, long pants, and wasted money on alterations. I hated shopping because nothing ever fit just right. Then I found Short Story, a clothing subscription box specifically designed for petite women. Short Story is rewriting the fashion rules for petites, offering clothes tailored for all sizes, shapes, and heights under 5'4". They even design their lines based on feedback from their subscribers, people like you and me. Here's what makes Short Story amazing. Each box is personalized to your measurements and style preferences, no more alterations or guesswork. You choose how often you get a box. You can do monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. Every box includes 7 items, and I usually keep around 4 to 6 of them because they fit so perfectly. Their styling quiz lets you share your budget, style preferences, and even your Pinterest board for inspiration. Yes, I have literally manifested my Pinterest wardrobe thanks to Short Story. And lastly, after each box, you can give feedback to make your next box even better. So imagine never having to shop in stores again, feeling confident at every event you attend, and knowing your clothes were curated specifically for you. I've been a loyal subscriber for 6 years now, and I promise it's been a game changer. If you're ready to uplevel your style and show up as the best version of yourself, then give Short Story a try today. And then a bonus for my listeners, you can use the referral link in today's show notes to waive the $25 styling fee on your first box. Let Short Story handle the hassle while you show up stylish, confident, and ready to take on the world.
But it can be really hard. And the other part of this is that some stuff from your past can come up, whether about your business or your personal life, that you thought you were over. Mm-hmm. You thought you healed through that. You thought you dealt with that. You thought that door was closed.
Yep.
And it'll come up again. And often what I see women do is they beat themselves up about that. Oh, I thought I was over it. This is so unfortunate, and then they like berate themselves. It's coming up right now because there's a little bit more that you need to do with it. But again, this is the time to take note. It's not the time to do anything with it. I will mention too that like in this phase, your energy level starts high when you're coming off of the ovulation phase. and then it's going to start getting low as your hormones are tanking. So you are in high mode, you're moving to low. That high energy can feel much like the ovulation phase, but it's going to also have this edge of like irritation and overstimulation. It's kind of a wired and tired feeling for a lot of women.
Yeah.
But this is a great time to like finish the to-do list, get the projects done so that you can move into the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just like really bring those things to a close so that you can truly honor the next phase, the menstrual phase, as you go into that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're just like toward the end of this phase, you're probably not going to have capacity to do some of that deeper work anyway. So like, finish it up or put it on pause.
And I'm going to just add a little plug here, you guys. This would, in my opinion, this would be the best time, since you know that this is when that inner critic is the loudest. This would be the best time to, have things like your affirmations playing in the background when you're doing your morning walk. This would be the best time to play those subliminals while you have dead time in the day. Turn those things on for white noise, for background noise, to help to kind of combat the loud inner critic who is like now shouting. This would be the best time to really implement those tools that maybe you haven't consistently been using. It's okay if you're not consistently doing it, but definitely sprinkle it in during this time of the month, because it's really just going to help to offset that inner critic.
Yeah. I do think it's also a great idea to journal if you have a journal practice.
Absolutely.
All the time, but especially now. And if you're not big into journaling, then just list out what is it. What are these things that are coming up that I need to address? And what is the inner critic saying about those? Just write them down so you're getting them out of your system.
Yeah.
Out of your body.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. So this is a no phase of your cycle. So often for most of us, this is a phase where we will just feel like we're at capacity anyway. So we're not going to take on extra during this phase. It is still a time where a lot of women are able, like if you're a service provider, to see clients, to, do all of that work, to be really good at it still. But you're also noticing like, how is my energy waning? And if you watch this over time, you'll start to see like, maybe I need like one extra day off, or maybe instead of seeing like 5 or 6 clients a day during this week, I'm seeing like 3 or 4, so there can be some flux. Let there be some flux in your schedule.
Okay.
If you tend to have anxiety toward the end of the luteal phase, which some women can have that, then pay attention over a few cycles to what day that happens on for you. And then maybe that's not a great time to have meetings or to do one-on-one sessions. Like if you can be flexible with changing that, that's a good idea. So this is a good time to practice saying no, especially to the things that just really they're not your wheelhouse. You don't want them to be. Listing out, like we said, wrapping up. This is a great time for easy to-do lists, especially things that you can see that they are complete. Like dusting, I always think of cleaning out your purse, deep cleaning your office.
Yes.
Because you can see the result. Like we really get a good dopamine hit when we can see the result of the work we do. Yeah. And that's really beneficial in the luteal phase. So
love that.
Checklist type to-dos. Right.
Okay.
And not that harder stuff, like not the tech stuff, not the hard meetings, not the like major brain work. We're saving that stuff for a different phase.
And or delegating it to your VA if you're able to, you guys. I mean, like this is also, if we're talking about finding that balance, if there's things that you're like, I can't afford to put this off for 2 weeks from now or a week from now, then delegate if you can. I mean, I think that's kind of like the season I'm learning to lean into right now as a business owner myself, is like, what can I and can't I delegate? And this would be that phase where like, give yourself that permission. It's okay to delegate something more this week if you just don't have it in you.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And remember that this is a time of listening to your body. This is a time of harvest. Like stuff is dissolving, stuff is going away. Something that you thought was maybe really pulling your focus before and was a really high priority, you might start to come to realize that that's not where you want to put your focus in the sort of moving forward with the phases. And so again, like when we go into the menstrual phase, that's when we're going to do our visioning. So we're taking all of the stuff that's coming up here and we're going to sit with it and we're going to reflect on it and we're going to release it in the next phase. But a lot of it will come up now to pay attention to.
Okay. That's helpful.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to add is as you are coming to the end of the luteal phase and you know that you're going to be transitioning into that like rest and relaxation phase next, this could also be a good time to just emotionally and spiritually prepare yourself. You know that you're going to be going into that slowdown. So there's more likely to be those downloads and those ideas are coming. So I just feel like you can mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepare yourself for the ending and then what's to come next. I just think that's important to note.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we've said, like the menstrual phase is like an altered state of being. And if you were doing some kind of substance to create an altered state of being in your system, you would do a bit of a detox ahead of that. You can think of this phase like that if you want to. When we're at capacity, it can be really hard to sit with ourselves. When we're uncomfortable, it can be really hard to sit with ourselves. But this is a great practice to do. And if you feel like you need to distract yourself, try to make it be with things that are helpful to you, like nature, for example,
Yeah.
And even like, if you're going to watch a movie, maybe have it be something lighthearted, something easy. Same with reading. This is certainly the time that I cannot watch a documentary. I just get too angry about whatever it's about. And I feel like it's too much, Same with like, this is not the time for me to like dive into some kind of technical reading or some kind of nonfiction or even like a self-help book. Like I'm either going to call it all BS or it's just going to agitate me. I also feel like I'm just too full of information and energy and I can't take on any more.
Yeah.
And this is by design. Again, like biologically, we are receptive beings. We take in through the whole cycle and then we release in the menstrual phase. So it's normal to feel at capacity or beyond capacity at this phase. One of the things I just posted a story on Instagram asking when in your phase are you most likely to doom scroll? And the majority of women have an issue with doom scrolling in the luteal phase. And so I wrote back to each one of them. And first off, I said, I do the same thing. And it's often because we feel uncomfortable in our own bodies and we want to check out. We want to dissociate. But that's like the worst place to go to dissociate, especially in the luteal phase, because it's too much stimulation,
Yeah. I think more than anything, just really like everything you're saying is so spot on, but just really protect your energy, really let yourself put those boundaries in place during this time, put those self-care practices into your routine during this time. This is that time of the month to let yourself do those things, let yourself have those boundaries, let yourself practice that self-care. And then you're really going to dive into the self-care during the next phase as you start over back into the menstrual phase anyway. So awesome. What would be some good affirmations and journal prompts for this?
Yeah. So the affirmation that came through is I discern the truth for my use.
Okay. I like that.
And then journal prompt, knowing the challenges that come with this phase, I tread lightly and take note of the truths being revealed. I'll work with them later. What is being shown?
Nice. You're hitting on boundaries there. You're hitting on like slow down, go within, listen. And I know you mentioned this earlier, but because that inner critic is so loud and you're in this area of like potential discomfort, it can be really hard to go within. But like we need to get more comfortable sitting in that discomfort, like you said. And if you know that the inner critic is just not logical thinking, that's illogical, those are limiting beliefs or whatever it is, it's not your own voice, then it really is easier to shut her out and to sit in that discomfort, I feel. Awesome. Any last things, Kristi, that you want to share with listeners before we wrap up the mini-series?
I don't think so. By the time this airs, I will have a bigger offering ready so people can head over and find that.
Okay.
And feel free to ask any questions at any point as well.
Yeah. I'm not just saying this because she's my VA, you guys. She's just such a wealth of knowledge. She's like now my go-to person when I'm thinking like, what's going on in the stars right now? There's something going on with the planets and I can feel it. And what is it? And, you know, she really is a wealth of knowledge. So I just think if you are truly in the era of like building a soul aligned business, then listening to these episodes is really going to help with that. And if you want to just take it even deeper and personalize your time of the month with your business, and the coaching with Kristi would just be such a great investment, I feel. So awesome. Well, thank you, Kristi, for agreeing to this. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with listeners. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just really, this is going to be so helpful for so many people. I mean, it's already been so helpful for me, I feel. And I know going into 2026, like for the rest, like Q4 especially, like I'm just going to be starting to really slowly implement these things in hopes that by 2026, I'm just truly listening to my cycle and following it based on my body cues and how I'm feeling mentally and all the things. So
yeah, I love that. Goals for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys all next week.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!